All right, welcome everyone. Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight, episode 1 of year 2. We've done it. We have arrived at year 2.
Let's go.
Huge. A whole 365 days behind us. 53 episodes because that just happens to be how it lined up.
Mm,
Huge.
big.
This is epic. Anyway,
This is exciting. I didn't know I was the first one for the year.
yeah, I mean,
Good.
it's just how it lines up.
It's awesome.
It's been a year.
Hmm.
My last episode was the day before the first one aired.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So we're here. Year 2. Starting it off with the Hex. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, GTA. It's an honor to be here.
Honor. Damn. I didn't know I
Yep.
had so
It's a
much
big
merit
one.
here.
No, I love the Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight. I be listening to the episodes when I'm like walking or something. Like if I need something to put on, I'll put on the podcast.
Huge. We love to hear it here, that's
Hmm.
for sure. But yeah. Now you get to talk about yourself.
It's awesome.
You can listen
Full
back
circle moment.
and hear yourself now.
We'll see.
No. But yeah, I mean, let's begin with the beginning, as you do.
The beginning is
Yeah.
rough because it
Oh.
was so long ago. I've been speedrunning. What? It's 2024. I think I started in like 2016. So that's like 8 years ago.
Mm.
Um, I think it was like okay. I didn't make a Twitch account till I was 13, but I made my speedrun.com when I was 12.
Mm.
So I was a young guy. I was little fish in a big pond. But it's one of those things where like back then I didn't take speedrunning like as seriously. So it didn't really feel like the start of like my speedrunning career. It just felt like I was someone who was playing games fast, but there wasn't much like community. Like obviously communities are more geared towards older people. So, being 13 at the time, I didn't really kind of fit in with any of the communities. And I actually, I didn't have the greatest reputation, but I mean, we're all young at one point. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just after I think it was after my freshman year, I took kind of a 2 year gap where I just didn't really get involved in speedrunning a lot, just because I had a lot of IRL stuff, school, sports, stuff like that. And then the lockdown happened.
Mm-hmm.
Lockdown, pandemic. Um, and I found out we're gonna have 2 weeks off of school. That 2 weeks ended up being like a year and a half where we weren't in person.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was what kind of kickstarted my speedrunning career. I consider that to kind of be like the start of my like modern speedrunning career. Like obviously I was speedrunning, you know, 8 years ago, but it was at the point where it's like it's questionable if that even counts. Like it's
Mm.
questionable. Like I actually didn't even run any Mario, which is like what people know me for. I think I did one run of Galaxy, but like I was a Sonic runner back then, and so I started with OT 100% because I wanted to learn OT 100% over break. But I completed the game. I got to the toilet room in GTG, Gerudo Trading Grounds, and I just got so pissed off because the controls were so bad that I just quit. I didn't learn. I beat the game. I'm like, no, I can't do this. And so after that, I found someone. I think it was Alaska. I don't know if people know who Alaska is, but it's a Wii Sports Resort speedrunner, and they were doing all stamps, which if you've ever played Wii Sports Resort, you know how hard some of those stamps are. And so I would watch that stream like daily, and in my head I'm like, yo, what if I gave it a try? But then I realized shortly after that, you know, I'm not really that good at Wii Sports Resort. So I ended up just kind of doing some normal like all sports speed runs, but the category was only like 20 minutes. So I got a sub 20, and I'm just like, okay, now what? And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I used to run Mario at one point. And so the game that I was most involved in, I didn't speedrun it, but I had been around in the scene, was Super Mario 3D World. And that was actually probably the first speed game that I took seriously. And then from there on, I branched out. I ran Galaxy again. Then I went to Galaxy 2. And then, I had ran 64 actually. I did one 120-star speedrun of 64. And and honestly, in hindsight, looking back on it, this is not that bad of a time. I got like a 316 as my first run,
Mine's almost 6
which,
hours, so
yeah, exactly.
pretty
Like,
good, I'd say.
I it's kind of weird because I felt like that with my speedrunning experience back then, it felt like I really kind of overperformed in that run. And I know that's so weird to say when you're talking about like a 3 hour 120-star speedrun, but for someone who hadn't really done much at all, like I think my 70 PB was like a 133. Like
Wow.
I don't know, but something about the 100% category, it kind of just like clicked with me and it felt like it just like rubbed me the right way. And so I had thought to myself, okay, I ran 64. I know Galaxy. I know Galaxy 2. But there's one key component missing. And I'm like, Sunshine. If I learn Sunshine, I can do the 602. Like, that was my big thing. It's like, I can do the 602. But, there was this whole. There's no way my parents would ever let me play video games for 24 hours in a row. And so, I didn't have much hope. But a miracle happened one day. I'm talking like the angels must have shined on my house or something like that. Like a miracle happened that day. My cousin, who also streamed on Twitch, was doing a 24-hour stream for Extra Life. Do you know like Extra Life's kind of like a charity fundraiser?
I've heard
Um,
of it, yeah.
and my parents saw that and they're like, "Hey, you should do that." And I'm in my head, I'm like, my parents telling me to play video games for 24 hours? Like, it felt like I was in the Twilight Realm GTAs. It felt like I was in the fucking Twilight Zone. It didn't feel real. But like, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is the out that I have to do the 602. And I remember this was like, I think it was 2020. It was around like Thanksgiving. It was the start of November. So I had my plan in motion. I had a completed 64 run. I think I actually got around like a sub 3 hours. No, 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 no. I don't know if I got sub 3 hours at that point. I think I got like a high 3 hours. But you know, I was like, okay, I've ran 64. I've done a run of Galaxy. Galaxy 2 I'm good at for any percent. I just need to learn the long categories. And all I need is Sunshine. And I'm like, but I don't have a way to play Sunshine. And the universe the angels shine their light on me again because I wake up one night and I'm like, oh shit, there's a Nintendo Direct. And I'm like, probably nothing's going to get announced. I went right back to sleep. I woke up in the morning and I checked Twitter. Super Mario 3D All Stars released for the Switch. And I'm just like, the universe. I've never quite literally seen the universe blaze a path for me like that. Like the universe blazed a path for me in the ground to walk my way to completing a 602. And when that happened, I was just like a man on a mission. I was doing runs every day. I was practicing during online school. Any breaks during classes, I would be learning strats for Sunshine. And I eventually completed my first Sunshine run with like a 6 hour time. And at that point, up until the day before this Thanksgiving where I did my 602, I just grinded, man. I just grinded Mario games and I finished my first 602. And I also raised nearly like $1,000 for Extra Life as well. So that was
Wow.
that was really, really cool as well. And so that's kind of like the how I came to be as like a multi Mario speedrunner. But little did I know that would just be like the start of the journey. Like I never knew what could be ahead of me after that. And so that was like a cool kind of intro. I don't know how far like down the timeline you want me to go or if you like want me to stop at a certain
you
point.
you just go off.
Keep
Do what
going
you
off.
want,
Okay. I'll keep going off. So that was my first 602. And I was like, that's really cool, but something's missing. And it's like it didn't feel like something was missing at the time, but later I was like, that was cool, but it felt like it was all about me rather than like a community aspect. And then I saw the race because I didn't do the 602. That 602, I didn't do it during the race. because, I didn't know how that would line up with my schedule. And I actually ended up getting my wisdom teeth out for um, the day before that race. So I wouldn't have been able to do it anyways.
Mhm.
But I saw everyone doing it. And one of the things that really motivated me, and this probably will be like a segue maybe to a conversation later, is there were so many people who were like talking like, "Oh, I want to bop Hex in this 602," and in my head, I'm like, "This can't stand." Like this, it obviously was nothing like too malicious or anything like that, but it was just kind of like a friendly rivalry. Like people like Exprelli, people like I don't even remember like King J, those kind of people. They were like, I want to get Hexbot the 602, and in my head, I'm like, all right, bring it on, like let's see it. And so that kind of was what kickstarted the competitive aspect in me, which like I'd say I'm a pretty competitive person. I wouldn't say that I'm like overly competitive, but like it's a nice way to kind of push myself. Like if somebody is on my ass, like grinding and about to beat me, like that'll motivate me to kind of just keep pushing. And so, it works out both ways. That person gets motivated to beat me, I get motivated to improve. It's a nice kind of like trade-off, back and forth. But I saw this happen and I'm like, nope, this ain't happening. And I signed up for the next 602 race, which was in the summer. And I, for the longest time, was just motivated, grinding. But there's this thing for the 602 called the estimate sheet, where everybody puts their PBs of the 4602 games, and it's almost like a mini leaderboard that shows like what you're predicted to get or what your estimate for 602 is going to be. And that was like a nice way to keep tabs on the people who were like ahead of me, behind me. And my goal at this time was I wanted two things. I wanted a sub 24-hour time because at this point my PB was around a 25:53, and I had a lot to improve in many of the different games, but in my head I'm like, I want to get a sub 24 and I want to get top 10 in the speedrunning race. I want to get top 10 in the 602 race. And leading up to that summer, what happened was I was 12th on the 602 sheet, but in my head, like, I was just so motivated and I was just so ready to perform. And it would be to the point where like at work I was lifeguarding that summer, and I would listen to music while there was like no one there, and I just pace back and forth thinking about like the 602 and like my performance and just like putting in the work to like visualize the goals that I wanted. Because like I didn't realize how powerful like visualization was. And I would just visualize myself, getting top 10, getting sub day, and that really kind of helped me stay motivated. And so the day of the 602 race comes, and it's to the point where I'm not even nervous. Like for me, I'm someone who gets really nervous when it comes to speedrunning events and such. I wasn't even nervous, GTAs. I was just like ready. I was ready to go, man. I was ready. And I end up getting 7th in the race. I get 7th when I was predicted to finish 12th. And
Well,
that I also get sub day. I get sub day as well. And every 602, it feels like there's one person who's like the main character of the 602. Um, for some, like Odd Me got sub 20, that one 602, that he was like the main character. Stuff like that. And it really felt like for me, I was the main character of that 602 because of just like everything went my way. It felt like, and that's kind of where like the whole bit spawned. Like you hear people talking about like the main character, even like Lunatic J said it in chat, like main character, let's go. That was the origin of like main character kind of, the origin of that. And the rest is kind of just history. The next 602, my goal was to get a 21, and GTA's I grinded my fucking what's cursing like on
I
the
don't
show?
fucking care.
Okay. I grinded my fucking ass off, GTAs. I grinded so hard. Like I was putting in the work for Sunshine. I was doing like runs after runs. In 64, I was putting in the work. Galaxy, I was getting good. And, the week before the 602, I get diagnosed with COVID.
Mm,
I get COVID a
classic.
week
Yeah.
before the 602. And in my head, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do I do now? And in my head, there was just this voice that was just like, I've worked too hard just to let this stop me. Like I've worked too hard just to let some like obviously COVID is serious. Don't get me wrong, but like
Mhm.
I worked too hard just to let COVID stop me. Like I will not give up. And so I did the 602 with in COVID. I did the
Yeah.
602 with COVID. And I ended up falling short of my goal. I got a 22:05, and just with the way it had happened, like I was on the I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be really hard to get that sub 22, but just the way it was going, the run didn't die until the middle of Sunshine. That's when the run died. And when I say the run died, that means it was probably like impossible for me to get my goal. But at that point, like you still have 10 hours left to play. And I was so fatigued, obviously, because I had COVID. I was so fatigued that my morale was just plummeting. I just was not in the right headspace. And I get a 22:05, and it was just so unsatisfying. Like, and what sucks about the 602 is like, speedrunner, you have this god pace, you work for it, you lose a run, you can come back the next day and try. With the 602, that's not the case. You have to wait 6 whole months for the next race. Obviously, like you can do another 602 like right after, but I don't have time for that. Like I'm a student, I have school, I also have to worry about like my body, my health. And so I had to chew on that 22:05 for 6 months, and it was brutal. It was rough, GTAs. It was rough. And um, so I chew on that, and it gets to the point where I'm a month away from the 602, and in my head, I'm just dealing with so much negativity. Like, there was some people in the community that were kind of, I don't want to say they were being like rude to me, but it felt like I was under so much scrutiny for things that other people do all the time. Like if I lost a run, like I feel like I'd be under so much more scrutiny, or if someone bopped me, like everyone would be like all over it. It felt like, and that just really demotivated me. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the main character thing. It's like a double-edged sword because it's like so many people are rooting for you. So many people like if you ask anyone, anybody who's like popular or even no matter how nice or how good they can be, everybody wants to see them go down. Like everybody wants to see an upset. Everybody wants to see like one of the really good people. Like everyone wants to see it. And I feel like at that point, like that was kind of happening with me. And at this point, I'd never dealt with like pressure like that before. Like this was like new for me. I never dealt with that kind of like all eyes on me, like the scrutiny. And I was just so demotivated. I was like, I might never do 602 again. Like 22:05 might be the last time I ever get. And it was Aria Path, who is very good at the 602 herself, talked to me, and she was like, dude, basically fuck the haters pretty much. Like you're 5 minutes away. You work for this so much. You're not just gonna quit right now. Like you've worked too hard. Like get your basically she told me get your shit together. And I'm like, I never realized how badly I needed to hear that. So, 2 to 3 weeks before the 602, I was just grinding. And I end up getting a 21:41. And GTA, let me tell you, it was like the best I felt for a speed run up until that point. Like all the work that I had put in, it felt like 2 years of effort and 2 years of, practice and just determination and not giving up just paid off. And I was so happy. I think like many people don't know this. So after I got my 21:41, I went and I have a tradition after every 602. I eat a bagel with Nutella. I go take a shower, brush my teeth, get my ass to bed. That's my tradition. That I do that every time. And I was in the shower and I just was celebrating my victory, and I'm listening to music, and then All the Stars comes on, and I fucking lose it, bro. I start breaking down, bro. I was like, well, I was also very sleep deprived at this point. Like, I think one thing I said is before that run, I got 4 hours of sleep. I got
Mm.
4 hours of sleep
Oh.
before that. I did not sleep well. And part of me knew that it was going to be good because of that, because for every 602 that I sleep well, I suck at it. Like I do horrible. For every 602 that I sleep poorly, I do great. And so All the Stars came on, and I'm just like losing it because I was just so happy, bro. Like I got this goal that I'd seen so many people achieve, and I'm just like, dude, we did it. Like it was surreal. going from this kid who like never took speedrunning seriously to just this person who, worked really hard and, you know, didn't stop at anything and didn't give up just to get that goal time was just really good. It was really nice. Um, so that happened, and then the next 602, it wasn't really that special. I got a 21:15. Funny thing is, I actually PB'd I think two of the games. I PB'd Galaxy and then I PB'd Sunshine, and then I got 15 minutes off of my Galaxy 2 PB.
Mm.
That's for and one thing to say is for the previous 602s, like I play probably 8 to 10 minutes off my sum of PBs combined for every game. And so to lose 15 minutes in Galaxy 2 was just very uncharacteristic of me. Like it's one of those things where it's like you didn't expect that from me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was surprising. And then we have the summer 2023 602. And one thing to note here is before that, I was just dealing with so much burnout. Like, one thing about the 602 is you need to prep for it year round. Prep for it maybe stops for like 4 months total. Other than that, you're prepping Mario, whether you're doing any percent, 120s, like, you're always prepping for it. And I was just so tired, man. School wasn't going well. Um, mental health wasn't the greatest. And so for that 602, I was just so burnt out. And I was almost just like contemplating, is this the end for me with speedrunning? Like, I wasn't getting enjoyment out of it. And one thing I realized is the reason I wasn't getting enjoyment out of it was because I was removing all of the things that I liked about speedrunning, talking to my friends, just playing the games, like not even stressing about PBing. And so basically, I promised myself I would take some time off from Mario and I'd only start prepping a month out. And in hindsight, that was probably the best like method I could have done because I ended up getting a 20:53 that race, and that to me is probably the best speedrun that I've ever done. That to me is probably the best speedrun I've ever done because of just the sheer kind of like consistency and just the way I had a goal in mind, and I came into it with a perfect mentality. Like Arya made a trailer for it and I said, if I don't get 20, it's not the end of the world. And that's really kind of the mentality that I went into it with. Like if I don't get 20, like it's not the end of the world. What's gonna happen? I'm still gonna be here. The sun's gonna rise the next day. It's not gonna be the end of the world. But I ended up getting 20 and it felt great. And so I don't know if I'll ever get a sub 20. That's, it's crazy seeing Odd Me get a sub 20. And now I'm in the position where like it's in the realm. I'm not gonna say it's possible for me to get a sub 20, but it's in the realm of feasible. Like I could do it. It'd take a while. I could do it. But I don't know if I'll ever improve. But right now my PB is a 20:50. Maybe if I get a lower 20, if I never improve again, I'll be happy. And so that's what most people know me for is the 602. And that's kind of just the history with the 602 and me. And it was just really cool. It's a thing that means a lot to me. Like it's part of me, I feel like. The 602, it's like part of my identity, which can be a bad thing, but it also can be a good thing. And I just, growing up loving Mario, it just feels like the culmination of just it's just so cool to me. I just love the 602.
Yeah, it's coming up on a big
Mhm,
milestone as well.
mhm. Yeah, 10-year anniversary. I'm really excited for that because there's gonna be so many people, and this might be the first time we get over 100 entrants, which would be just amazing considering the first race had like two finishers. I feel like it had like no finishers, and so if we get over 100 entrants, I'm gonna be so happy. GTAs, you don't understand. Just seeing the community grow. It's interesting because, and this is kind of maybe like a sidetrack, but when I think of speedrunning, I don't usually think of my PBs. Like my PBs, they come up obviously, but I think of my performances in speedrunning competitions is what I feel like best represents me as a speedrunner. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like my PBs, I'll be honest, my PBs, most of them are really nothing special, but my performance in speedrunning marathons, relays, tournaments, and just my consistency is something that I am very prideful in. I have a lot of pride in the fact that I feel like I'm I don't want this to come across as cocky, but like if you're gonna have anyone on your team for a relay, I'm your guy. Like, you can reliably get a good performance out of me, no matter what scenario I'm in. And I feel like that's a very uh, cool thing. Like, I value consistency a lot in my life, and it translated over to speedrunning, which I think is really cool. But I will branch off to say a story that is gonna be interesting. Um, so the first tournament of anything I ever did ever was a Super Mario Galaxy 2 any percent tournament. And I'm gonna take a sip of water while I collect my thoughts.
Stay hydrated. It is important.
And so for Super Mario Galaxy 2, I had gotten top 20 relatively, like I improved really fast. And I was beating people who've been playing the game, I don't want to say all their life, but a lot longer than I have. And, it started to get to the point where the tournament got announced, and I'm like, this is my tournament. Like, this is my time. And, it's one of those things where it's like, I was just so new. I didn't know how to prep for that kind of stuff. And on top of that, I didn't know how to deal with nerves when it came to speedrunning, which ended up biting me. So I ended up getting like, I think it was like 14th seed out of like 32. And I get put in a group where I am the third seed. And you need to finish, I believe it's top two. No, it was top four, and I think it was the fifth seed. And you need to finish top four to qualify for the big bracket. And my first match is against the fifth seed because that's just how the seeding lined up. And I'm going into it really cocky. I practiced and everything. And I got humbled so hard. I got my ass kicked. It was one of those things where it felt like a welcome to the big leagues, buddy moment. Like, it felt like I just like had a rough introduction to competitive speedrunning and realizing like if you don't adapt and go with the changes, then you're going to learn a quick lesson from someone who has. Like, you will learn from someone who has adapted and who's flexible and who's consistent, someone who's trained the right way, someone who's practiced correctly, practiced for the moment. And that's just what I learned. And so that knocked me down to loser's bracket. I win my next match, and I faced the second seed who had gotten taken out. And it was a close race. It was within, I think his PB was like a 306. My PB was like a 320. And we end up finishing within a minute. And that was one of those things where it's like, that loss stung. It stung for me. But in my head, I was just like, you know, maybe I'm not beating the best guys, but I'm right there. I'm closing the gap is what I'm saying. And so that kind of stayed in my mind. It's like I'm closing the gap. Like maybe I'm not there yet, but in time I'll be there. And so that was, a very good thing for me. Taking, I'm not even really sure. Like when I say I'm getting off topic, I'm not even really sure what like on topic means, but there's just so many things that like pop in my head that I can just keep explaining, keep talking about. So if you do like want to change the subject, UTAs, just like cut me off. Feel free to.
I mean, I don't care. You
Okay.
spew what you want, man.
All right. Then we'll bring it to the next tournament that I was in was the Sonic Adventure 2 Hero Story tournament. And I had ran Sonic Adventure 2 for a while, but I did not keep up with it at all. And that community, I don't think they liked me very much. But that was also like 4 years ago. So I came back and I was surprised. I was welcomed in with open arms and it was really cool. But I was one of the worst runners there because I hadn't played the game in so long. But, in my head, I'm like, just for something about me, like if I'm going to do something, I do it 100%. I don't like half-ass anything. If I'm going to do something, I'm dedicating my everything to it. And so that's the same thing for like speedrunning competitions as well. And so I was in that and I get put in the group stages and I think I'm fifth seed out of sixth. And my only goal is I just want to make it to bracket. I just want to make it to the big bracket and just give it a try. I want to just put all my effort in. If I can put all my effort in and I come up short, I can't be upset at myself because I put everything in. So I grind and I end up having a match where I'm facing one of the top seeds and, you know, I'm at the point where I've lost pretty much all matches except for one and I just need to win one more. And again, the match is like 30 seconds difference. And it's just again showing me that like I'm right there. Like I'm in the hunt with these guys, but I need to just find a way to just bridge the gap. I need to find a way to get those wins in those close races. And that was, it was hard for me. Like I would get so close, I'd be so just right there, and I just couldn't follow suit. I couldn't follow through. But I actually end up qualifying for big bracket because one of the people overslept their match.
Damn.
And so I end up making it to big bracket. And in my head, I'm like, everything happens for a reason, I guess. This is just how it is. And I qualify for big bracket. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, that's awesome. I put the work in and I made it. I did it. And so that was really cool, even if it wasn't the way I'd want. And I'm trying to remember what happened in big bracket. I think in big bracket I just lose one match and I'm out. Like there was no losers bracket. I wonder if I can find the bracket. Let me try and pull it up. Let me find it.
Are these just like
Challenge.
challenge or whatever?
Yeah, it's just on
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. The classic.
Um yeah, so I have all the brackets pulled up actually, so I can be more accurate with what I say. So let me pull up Hero Story Tournament 2021 edition. Final stage. Man, where is this? Did it not record it on Shell? Oh man. Hang on. Let me see it. Let me see if it's in Google Drive. Because
Google Drive.
It might be.
I haven't done a lot of tournaments, at least not for a long time, so I don't remember how people keep track of this stuff.
Fair enough. Um, I don't know if it's on here. I wish it was because that's like it's history. Like it's history. It's not anything that's like will leave. It's stuff that happened, but just not having the bracket, it kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
But oh, I think I found it actually. Hang on.
I mean, it is proof, so.
I found one for 2022. That's so 2022. 2021. It was summer of 2021. So, oh, I found it. I found it. Um, I found it. And so I end up qualifying, and then I think I lose to. Oh, I lost to Deku. I remember that. Oh yeah. So basically what happened was there was someone named Stolen Kurik who not bashing or anything, but didn't really perform up to their PB. So in my head I was like, okay, maybe if I get this draw, if I get Kurik, who is, hasn't been performing well, I will, I could get a win. Like I could get a win in the losers bracket and we'll see what happens. But Kurik, I just magically like returned back to peak gaming form and like beat the other person. And when I saw the other person lose, I'm like, yeah, my tournament run's over. I'm just like, yeah, it's over. And so, but that was, again, it was not really about winning. It was just about like experience. And then so that happened. And so that actually led to me getting invited back for the next tournament. And at this time, I had improved a lot. Like I had improved a lot. But before I get there, I want to talk about some other stuff that led to the growth of me as a speedrunner. So we did something called the 540 relay. And if you're not aware what a 540 is, it is all Mario games any percent. And I was running 3D World at the time. I was running 3D World. So I got chosen for that. And we're predicted to finish, I think, like third. We're predicted to finish like third. And everyone's like sleeping on us. And we get into the relay. And I'm grinding for this. Like I'm in the relay and I'm like, relays are interesting because tournaments, you're all for yourself. Relays, people are counting on you. Like people depend on you to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have 5 people in a relay perform great and one person doesn't perform up to par and you won't win. That's just how it is. So what ends up happening is we make it and we're in first place, but we're neck and neck with another team. And I'm the last leg of the relay. I'm the last leg for this relay, and we're neck and neck. And GTA's, when I tell you I was nervous as all hell, that's an understatement. That is an understatement, GTA's. I was like shaking on my couch. I end up warming up 2 hours before, and I'm so nervous. But everything is just clicking. Everything is just clicking for me. And we get to the relay, and I just play. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't even think, I'm just playing. And one thing I realized that helped me, one thing that I realized for me is when I'm in call, I play so much better. When I have like, I'm in call, I'm talking with people and, I'm not playing completely distracted, but I'm not hyper analyzing my speed run. I just can flow. And when you reach that flow state, you're dangerous. When you reach that flow state in speedrunning, it's dangerous. And I think you know what I'm talking about too. Like it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been
And
there in a while, but I
yeah,
remember.
but you
I
remember.
remember. Yeah.
And so, right there, I'm like, this is just it's it's my time. And I end up winning the relay for my team. And let me tell you, I was so happy. I was so happy, GTAs. It would look like I just won $1 million. It looked like I just won $1 million. And at that time, that was something that did wonders for my confidence. It's like, it felt like that gap was being bridged. I was turning the corner as a speedrunner. And so going into that Hero Story tournament, I'm ranked second in my pool. There's one person who's ahead of me. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to go 5-0. In my head, I'm just like, it's not even a question. I'm going to go 5-0. And so I get the draws for the tournament. My first match was a match against someone who was lower on the kind of like seating.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going to pull it up so that I'm historically accurate. 2022. HST 2022. There we go. So my first match was versus someone named Chuskins. I'm pretty sure. I forgot how to pronounce it. And it was good because Chuskins was a new runner. And so one of the things that I value a lot is like not being, I don't want to say rude to new runners, but like there's some people who like if they beat someone in a speedrunning race, they'll go really like overboard about it when there's like a huge skill disparity. And it's just like one of those things where it's like it kind of makes you look like an ass, even if that's not what you're trying to look like. So, I was just like being nice. I didn't like showboat or anything like that. And so I end up winning. And next up I have Divu, who is really good. Divu's really good at Sonic Adventure 2, but hasn't run a lot of Hero Story. And that's one of those matches, GTAs, where it's like in your head, you're like, okay, I'm not likely to lose, but I can lose. Like losing is possible. Losing is a thing that can happen here. And so you kind of start to like overthink. But I just got in there and I just played and everything just went my way. And I don't even think it ended up being close. I mean, Divu didn't have the greatest run, but like everything just went my way. And then I had Salty Clown, who was again kind of like a lower runner, and I do end up winning that one. So I'm 3-0 right now. But this is my last test GTAs. I'm facing the 1 seed, Avi KLF, the 1 seed, and let me tell you what, I knew I'm gonna have to bring it for that match, and Avi was good. Avi was good, and we had equal PBs. Like we had both had high 26s, and so it was like literally the definition of a toss-up match. And so it got me thinking about in the SMG2 tournament, my first race was the same thing. It was a toss-up match. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do differently this time? So what I did differently is instead of doing a bunch of practice, instead of doing a lot, I just did no reset after no reset after no reset. Because in this tournament, it doesn't matter how much you practice. All you're tested on is if you can produce in one run. And you can and practice does help, but no resets are the best practice for this kind of stuff. No resets are the best practice. And the race starts, and there's a skip that's kind of random. It's one of those things where it's not RNG, but it's so precise it might as well be RNG. One of those skips, and I end up hitting it. And at that point, I was just so happy because, like, you could tell it was an omen of good things to come. And I'm winning. And we get to Crazy Gadget, which is the second to last level in the speedrun that has a big skip. And I'm doing the skip. Avi is doing Crazy Gadget, skip. So I was going to lose time here. And that's, not good. And I end up making a 40-second mistake in Crazy Gadget. And then now Avi's in the lead. And in my head, I'm just like, I can't believe I just lost. Like, in my head, I'm like, I just lost. Like, I was so sad. I was like, all this lead, all this just for this to happen. And I'm just like, because I had lost 40 seconds and I was going for a slower variant of the skip. So in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm winning this match. Avi gets something that I don't think ever happened. Avi ends up falling out of bounds, but doesn't hit a kill plane. So Avi just ends up falling forever. And if you restart the level, it takes you back to the beginning. So that happens, and Avi goes back to the beginning. And all of a sudden, we are literally neck and neck. We are literally 8 seconds apart. And I'm just like, I've just been given another chance. I better not waste it. And I end up just producing and winning that match. And when I tell you how I was so happy, I literally went upstairs and I started jumping around my living room. I was so ecstatic because it felt like I put the ghost to rest for that one match that I had in the SMG2 tournament. You can really tell like the growth I've had as a speedrunner from losing those close matches to finally getting it done. Finally getting it done, pulling through, winning that one. And it did a lot for me mentally. And so I end up winning my last match. I'm 5-0. And I qualify for a big bracket. I lose my first match. I win 2 straight on the backside, and then I get eliminated by Flub, who ended up winning the loser bracket. And so, in my head, I'm just like, I didn't perform in bracket how I would like to, but I also knew that the competition was, it's a high level of competition. And so I did that, and I went 7-2 in this entire tournament. Like that's big. Like that's a lot. It takes a lot. Like just performing for 7 matches and being able to win. Like it's not easy. People underestimate how hard it is to string together consistent performances in these types of tournaments. And so that was kind of the end for my Sonic endeavor when it came to Hero Story tournaments. But going 5-0 in pools was just one of those things where it's like really cool. Like it's one of those things where I just got it done, and I'm happy about my performance, especially considering it's not my main speed game. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm really happy with how I performed. And so that's the Sonic tournament. But gearing back towards Mario stuff. Are you aware, GTS, of what the 1545 is?
Oh boy. Is that the like there's like different series, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's Mario, Rareware, Crash, Spyro.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm doing the 1545, and I'm on the team Magenta. Everyone's gangster until you face Magenta, EGUTMF, or whatever. I don't know the acronym. FM, EGUTFM, whatever. Anyways, that's besides the point. Um, Basically, we were predicted to get last. I'm pretty sure we're predicted to get seventh. And first person starts out, PB. Next person does a run, PB. I do my run, PB. We're off on a hot streak, and we are killing it right now. We are fucking killing it. And then devastation happens. Our Spyro 3 runner is running, and his game crashes.
Oh my god.
His game crashes, and we lose 20 minutes. Thankfully, the team's like, we'll discard that mistake. His PlayStation crashes again,
Oh. Well,
and we
that's
lose
not good.
4 minutes. So devastation happens. But we had people pick up the slack. Like people like, you know, one thing about a really good team, and that was probably one of the best relay teams I've ever been on. When someone goes down, other people pick up the slack. Like that's how it goes. Other people pick it up. And that's how it was. And our Crash 1 runner ends up PBing. And we're at this point where we don't know how to calculate. The results are so close, but there's this huge debate of like, okay, what happened with the crash, like stuff like that. And they're calculating the times, and we lose by less than a minute in a
That's got to be a lot.
52
Yeah,
hour
okay.
run.
Okay,
In
yeah.
a 52-hour run. We lose by less than a minute in what, in my opinion, is a controversial call, but we lose by less than a minute. But it was just one of those things where it's like we were predicted to get last, and we were a hair's breadth away from winning the 1545. And funny thing is, this was the first relay. It's my fourth relay ever. The first relay I didn't win.
Mm.
The 1545 was the first relay I didn't win. And so that was just something that, I think about it sometimes. It's like, it haunts me a little bit. It's like, damn, I almost had the big one. But, it is what it is. You can't look back on it with regret. Like, we did all we could. We played the best we could. It was out of our hands, and we ended up losing. So it is what it is. We got second, so could be worse. However, I talked about 3 relays. I think said it was my fourth. First one, I don't even remember what it was. The second one was the 540. But there's one in the middle that I didn't talk about. And that's because it's one that I don't like to remember fondly.
Mm.
So it's the 1862 relay. And I'm running Super Mario Galaxy 2, 242. And I'm doing this run. And I'm on PB pace, which is huge for a relay like this because I think we're predicted to get third. And I lose I lose 6 minutes in the final level. I lose 6 minutes in the perfect run. First time I've ever failed perfect run. And I was just so if it felt like a tragedy almost to me. Like obviously looking back on it, it's not the end of the world, it's a speed run, but for me at the time, excuse me, it felt like a tragedy. Like, and I was just so upset with myself because, it's not just me I'm letting down, it's my team as well. Like, my team's counting on me. And, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't get to do 242s often. Like, I don't get, because that run's like 10 hours long. And I don't get to do those runs often. So I just wasted an opportunity to PB. And I'm not going to be able to do one until the next 602, just because I didn't have time. And like my parents don't like me doing long runs, obviously. So I took it really hard. I took it really hard, and I just took it to heart, and it really bothered me. And even my team was like, "It's okay, you did well." Like, but it hurt, man. It hurt. It was a rough one. But my team afterwards, we performed so good. We had Creepy Gar, who was 30 seconds off PB. We had SB, who was a minute off PB. We had Hey There. Hey There Cool got, I think, like 1 minute off of his Odyssey PB, which Odyssey is a hard game to run in a relay. So that's something that's really cool. And so it comes down to Buttermaster 101. And Buttermaster 101 gets the God run and wins it for us. We win the 1862 relay. And at this point, I'm just so ecstatic because it feels like the burden of my mistake was taken off my shoulders. Like it was taken off my shoulders to the point where I just felt so happy. And I'm just so glad that, I'm not used to failing. Like that sounds probably like so like, oh, look at Mr. Wins every, but like, you know, I wasn't used to just not performing up to my standard. And it felt like losing that 6 minutes it wasn't a performance up to my standard. And so, it sat with me for a little bit and it bothered me. But eventually, the demons were solved. And what's funny is I think I remained the only person to win a 540 relay and an 1862 relay. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. All
And
right.
then
I gotta
was it?
ask because
Yeah.
these are a lot of numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
I need like to recall what each of these were.
Mhm.
So 540 is
All Mario games any percent, and 1862 is all 3D Mario games 100%. So
okay.
1862 is just 540 but 100%.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when you say all so 540 is all 3D any percent then?
Yes. It's
So
64 Galaxy, Sunshine, Galaxy 2, 3D World, Odyssey.
okay. So that
Yeah.
and 100%. Okay. I
Mhm.
am not confused anymore.
Fair
And
enough.
then yeah, and then what the 1545, yeah. That's
Is That's just a 602 game, so it's what it is, it's going to be 64 Galaxy 1, Sunshine Galaxy 2. And then for 301%, you have Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, Donkey Kong 64 101%.
mhm.
For Crash, I think you have Crash 1, Crash 2, Crash 3. And then Spyro, you have Spyro 1, Spyro 2, Spyro 3.
Okay.
I have a vendetta against Spyro 3. I think that's one of the worst video games ever made just because it crashes so easily. But that's
I
neither here nor
see.
there.
I see.
Spyro 3 literally cost me a 1545 win, but whatever.
mm.
Water under the bridge.
Sounds
Um,
like it.
but and so that happens, and then the last kind of speedrunning competition that I engaged in was the 3D Mario Madness Invitational.
Hmm.
And what that is you have the 540 games where it's all Mario games. I can say it again. It's the
All 3D
64
any percent,
Galaxy,
yeah.
Sunshine Galaxy 2, 3D World Odyssey.
Hmm.
But what's determined is a wheel spin. So they spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on is what game you play. And again, I just got caught up being too cocky because in my head, I come in as the eighth seed and I lose first round and I'm done. It's only single elimination, so I lose first round and I'm done. And
So before your
that
match, they
sucked.
roll one of those games,
Yeah.
and you have to. Okay,
Yep.
interesting.
And I don't think you got bans at the time. So now, obviously, because there were 3 seasons of the 3DMM, which is 3D Mario Madness.
Mhm.
It was season 1, which had 64 120 and Galaxy 2 Green Stars, along with the categories I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And then the next season took away those 2 categories, and you got bans. Everyone got 1 ban, depending on how many games you ran. So like someone who had all 6 games gets 2 bans, versus somebody who has 5 games only gets 1. And if you have 4 games, you get no bans, while your opponent may have 2.
Hmm.
Does that make sense, or do you need me to explain that a little
So
more?
it's like you can't get this on the wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so season 1 I lose, and it puts a bad taste in my mouth. Season 2 I'm a new runner, and we get into group stages and group. So season 2, it was a group stage, and I think I was 15th seed out of 32. So I was 16th seed, 16th seed out of 32. So I'm literally the middle. I'm like middle of the road, and I end up facing the Mine 2001 first round, and I end up getting a PB in Odyssey, and it was my first ever sub 110, and it just like fueled me. Like it was one of those things where it's like it felt so good. Like I have a gif of me popping off about it on Twitter. It's so funny. Like if you go to my chat and you type pop off, literally a gif comes up of me doing the freaking pop off celebration. Um, and then next round I face fucking Odd Me.
Mm-hmm.
I face Odd Me. And in my head I'm just like, you know, I just racing Odd Me is like going to the DMV. It sucks, but you just got to do it. Like you're just gonna like leaving exhausted, but you just got to do it. You just have to do it. He's so good. He's so consistent. There's almost no room for error, and so I ended up facing Odd Me in his best game, which is Sunshine, no less, and he ends up PBing. So I literally
What
had
the
no
fuck?
chance.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, I literally had no chance. He ends up PBing, and so I'm 1-1. And in order to qualify for big bracket, you need to win 2 in your pool.
Mm-hmm.
And my last match is against Joe Cool. Real ones know Joe Cool. Joe Cool 57 underscore. He's now I think Joe Warm, but a very good Odyssey runner and very good Sunshine runner. And I think Joe had 5 games. He didn't have one of them, and so I get 1 ban. And so I, as a sensible person, I ban Odyssey. And in
Mm-hmm.
my head, I'm like, this could go either way, but I'm hoping we get Galaxy. It rolls 64. Our 64 PBs are within 30 seconds of each other.
So coin
So
flip again.
yeah, yeah,
I see. I
another
see.
coin flip matchup. It's like,
Here we
how
are.
many times is this gonna keep happening? And so that happens, and we're playing, and Joe loses a minute and a half in Womps,
Mm.
and I have this lead, but I know my lead is not safe, and I end up bleeding time, and Joe's ahead of me. Joe ends up dying in Rainbow Ride. I'm back ahead. We're in TTC. We are literally neck and neck. We are
Mm.
literally neck and neck.
And it's TTC.
It's TTC.
Oh
And we
no.
leave, and we're still neck and neck. I'm like
How does
10,
that
15
happen?
seconds behind.
How does that happen at TTC, bro?
Trust me, you're going to hear another story of 64. 64 haunts me.
Yeah.
64, like in a race sense, haunts me. And so what happens is we end up going into bits, and for the start of the run, Joe was running on 3D All Stars. So the way it worked is I started on reset, Joe started on file select.
Mm.
That's going to become important much later. That's going to become important much later.
Mm.
And so what happens is, if you run 64, you know that red arrow platform that goes across the logs?
Mm-hmm.
Joe rides the platform. I
Mm.
don't. And so I end up taking the lead because of that. And, in my head, I'm going into the bits pipe for Bowser 7 seconds ahead. And in my head, I'm like, this match might be over. I've never hit perfect throws. Like, I think I've hit perfect throws one other time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about in practice and runs, everything. I suck at throws. And not to make the matter even worse, Dylan R is another Odyssey runner who was at my apartment the time of the match. He was sitting next to me, giving me updates, like coaching me throughout the entire match. And so that just, the pressure, man, the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I miraculously hit all 3 throws. Hit all 3 throws. And I end up finishing first, but Joe's timer is lower.
Mm-hmm.
Joe has the faster time. And we're in this point where we don't even know who won. Like, we're at the point where, because of the file select timing, there was controversy there
Hmm.
because I started on reset, which means I lose around like 7 seconds. Joe started on file select, so the match ends up going to a booth review.
Hmm.
The match ends up going to a booth review, and I don't find out until the next day. And this is literally the match that determines if I go to bracket or if my tournament's done. So like this is like the blood round GTAs. This is like you qualify or you don't. And
Having to
I'm
sit on that
I'm
sucks. Yeah.
yeah, and so like it's suspenseful, and I end up getting the call. I end up having it go in my favor. So I win the closest speedrunning match I've literally ever had. It was, oh my goodness, it was something else. And I end up qualifying for bracket. And in my head, I'm like, this is just start. I'm gonna go on a tear in bracket. I want odd me again. I want to face odd me again. Like I'm over here. I'm like, I want odd me again. I don't. I listen. You don't. You facing the best guys. It really shows you what you need to work on. So I like facing the best guys. I won't turn the race. I won't really turn a race down from anyone. I don't care if I'm, my PB's more than 30 minutes better or if I'm an hour behind. I don't care. I'll race anyone anytime anywhere. And that's just because, you're never good enough to the point where you can never be tested. So I like being tested in those scenarios. And, I get to the big bracket and I upset the 8th seed. It was Pods. I beat Pods because we roll Galaxy, and it was a close match, but I ended up clutching it up towards the end. And then I faced Galactic. Now, me and Galactic actually had beef back in the SMG2 tournament. We're like best friends now. Me like that's my man. That's my man. And but like we had beef during the Galaxy 2 tournament. Like we didn't like each other. And so it's crazy because, for me being the main character, he is always the person that can beat me. Like he's always the person um that like has my number. Like there'll be some tournaments where like you could be really good, but one person just has your number. And we end up facing, and it's SMS, and I lose. And this is one match out of top 8. So I lose and I don't get top 8. And, it sucked. Like, I was right there. And I think if I won that one, I would face Odd Me. So, I was right there and I lose. And from Sunshine, it's just like, that was a rough one. And so I had to chew on that for a little bit. I'm happy with my performance, but I can just do so much better. Like I know I can do so much better. And so season 3 happens. And season 3 is a little different. So the way seeding was determined before was through your PBs. So it doesn't matter when you achieve the PB, that's how your seeding is determined. And this time it was different. It was through an LTA, which was on the run.gg. And I'm sure you know what an LTA is, but I'll explain. So basically it's a live time attack. We have 12 days. Whatever your PBs are for the 6 games after the 12 days is how you'll be seeded. And the way it's gonna work is there's like they're gonna be like drawing out of a hat for pools, where like the top 6 will be drawn so that they're each in their own different pool. Then the top 6 through 12 will be drawn. So like, it's like multiples of 6. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was 6th place going into the final night, and I worked every day. Like I grinded every day for like to improve my times and stuff like that. And I end up getting booted out of top 6th with an hour left in the LTA to go. And so I'm 7th. And I was grinding 64 runs because that was the time I could improve the most, and I just couldn't get anything going. The last run, the timer ends. So I started a 64 run a minute before the timer ended. So that, this is the last run of the LTA. Like you finish this run, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
I end up PBing 64 and I take back 6th seed. Literally, you cannot script this shit. Literally like a freaking, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a movie ending. Like it's like a fairy tale ending type stuff of like you can't script this at all. Literally last run of the LTA and I PB and I get 6th place. And so my head is kind of, my ego's a little bit, a little big, and we end up going to group stages. And my first match is with Shadow Frost. And Shadow Frost was 23rd seed, so one below the last seed. And what happens is everyone has a reroll that they can use. And me and Shadow Frost are not competitive in everything except for 64 and Sunshine. So I banned Sunshine. And it rolls 3D World, and I'm popping off because I'm like good at 3D World. Like 3D World's like one of my best games. And I forget that Shadow Frost has a reroll. It gets rerolled 64.
Of course.
64. And our PBs are within less than a minute of each other.
Guess
And when I
what?
tell you I was so nervous, I was so nervous for this race. I was. And we get to Rainbow Ride, and I'm at Tricky Triangles, and I dive past the star and die. And so Shadow Frost is ahead. And I'm just like, there's no way. Like I'm over here like I'm the 6th seed. Like I was planning to win my group. Like I want to win my group. And I lost. And so I get stunned by the 20, the phrase seeds are for the birds. It's real. It's a real phrase. I mean, seeding doesn't mean anything. Seeds are for the birds. And so I lose. And I'm just stunned. Like, I'm just stunned. But I can still win my group. Because if I beat the 2nd seed, who was Z Gamut, and I beat the 3rd seed, who was Tackle Shift, I can still finish 2-1. And since I beat Gamut, if Gamut is also 2-1, I would have the lead because I won the head-to-head. And so I face Gamut, and it rolls Galaxy. And I end up losing that one as well. Gamut was the 9th seed. Like, so it was 6 and 9. Like, it's really close. It's really competitive. And I end up losing by 10 seconds.
Oh.
I end up losing by 10 seconds. And so now I'm 0-2. I'm the 6th seed, and I'm 0-2 in my group. And everyone's just like, bro's literally about to be the 1 seed and go 0-3. And like, it's back to that thing where I talked about. It's like, when you're on top, people want to see you lose, man. They want to see you lose. As much as you think they're like rooting for you, they want to see you lose. They want to see you lose. And so I'm facing Tackle Shift, and there's only one game that me and Tackle Shift are even remotely competitive in, and it's Galaxy. I have a reroll left. I didn't use my reroll because all the wheel has been in my favor up until this point. It rolls Galaxy. I use my reroll. What do you think it's going to roll?
Galaxy again.
Galaxy again. It rolls Galaxy again. And at this point, I am fucking livid because I grinded my ass off in the LTA. I got 6th seed, and I just keep getting fucked over again and again and again. And the Galaxy run starts off, and I'm instantly just like a minute behind because I just don't play well. But over the course of the run, I don't know what it was, but I just found my groove, and I end up winning that match. And so now I'm 2-1. I'm 1-2. But there's an issue. So is Shadow Frost, and so is Tackle Shift. So we end up going to a 3-way tiebreaker race. And it rolls Odyssey. And I end up losing a minute and a half in Sand Kingdom. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? But I still end up winning. I win the tiebreaker. So I won the tiebreaker, and I got 2nd in my group. But unfortunately, now my seeding for the big bracket is going to be just messed up. Like, because, in an ideal world, I would get 1st, and then I'd end up being a top 6 seed. That's not the case. I end up coming in as seed number 12. Because, I didn't perform up to my standard, and my seed obviously goes lower. And so we get into big bracket. I win my first match. And then I have my opponent for the quarterfinals. Who do you think my opponent is? It's someone I've mentioned in this story. Not in this story, but someone I've mentioned previously. Like a name I specifically stated.
Well, I think I know the answer, but...
Galactic. Galactic. And in my head, I'm just like, seriously? Like, are you are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, are you serious? Like, this is the one person that has my number is the person that I draw. And to make matters even worse, we roll sunshine. So we literally have a repeat from last year. But something in my head was just like, I'm gonna win this one. Like I just knew it was destiny. Like they put me back in the same position that I lost in last year. They're essentially being like, you have another chance, rewrite the wrong. And I end up winning that match. I beat Galactic in something for the first time ever. And like, credits to him. He's such a good speedrunner, like such a worthy opponent. And it's just like, I think I honestly just got lucky. But listen, I just knew it was destiny at that point. And I end up losing in the next round to JJ, who ends up winning the entire tournament. And so I got top 8 in the 3D and it was just one of those things where it's like it felt like such a full circle moment because like I had to experience all the things from before. I had to experience close races. I had to experience, bouncing back from a loss. Like I was not in a good place after that loss. And I'm just like, I need to bounce back. Like you can't lament on it. You just got to bounce back and just get ready to go for the next round. So that was good. And I really enjoy those speedrunning competitions because, I did wrestling in high school and that's a very tournament oriented sport. So I kind of equate speedrunning to wrestling in a way, which I mean, that's not going to make sense for really anyone who doesn't do wrestling, but yeah. I don't know. And it's a nice kind of connection. So that's pretty much it for like stories that I have.
It's all the tournament stuff.
Hmm.
Well,
I've been yapping.
yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? That's
Yup,
why what we're here for.
for
If we
sure.
were sitting in silence, like, what's the point of that?
Exactly. I like the way you think, GTAs.
I do what I can.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I'm sure there's other things,
Hmm.
you know. Um, like your profile seems to have many games in it, and
Hmm.
a lot of them are not ones you'd tournament.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can
Yeah.
just go off with what you
Um,
think is important.
I think it's just one of the things where it's like, in my head, um, why do we speedrun? Like, what's the point? Like, why do we speedrun? Do we do it for money? I mean, some people probably do it for money. I don't. Um, do we do it for fame? I mean, maybe. But I feel like we speedrun for fun. Like,
Yeah,
fun is the reason why we speedrun.
I should hope so.
And to me, I mean, yeah, ideally you'd think so. You know, I like fun. I mean, who doesn't like fun, obviously? But
It's fun.
fun to me is being good at multiple games. And, no shade, no targeting at anyone who's just a single game Samuel, like single game
Single game
Sandra,
Sam.
single game whatever. But, like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, for me, like, I feel like it's really impressive when someone's good at multiple games. And that's what I like is, I've ran Mario. I've ran Sonic. I'm even dabbling in some Zelda right now. Like I have an OT 100% PB. I have a 7-hour time for OT 100%, which obviously, is not good. Like records like almost like half that. But I think it's just cool. Like I have so many games that I've ran and it's just fun and it keeps me from burning out. Like even right now I'm grinding Sonic Heroes and I haven't been this excited for speedrunning in so long. Just because a new game provides a new experience and, you know, a new experience is always great. And, people might say, "Oh, well, why don't you just get better at the games that you run?" Well, it's like because you reach a point where you have to put so many hours of practice into being good. It's just not fun anymore, and so that's why I take time off from Mario, from 602, from everything like that, just because if I spent all my life playing Mario, it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun, and so I really am want to be known for my variety. And that's what I like. People are always like, "You're so good at so many games." And I'm like, if this is what I'm known for, that's a pretty damn good thing to be known for. And I think it's just, again, it's something that I like find fun. It's just being good at multiple games. I do have plans to do a Sonic 430, which is Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, all emblems. And
Mm,
then I want to do a Zelda run where it's Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time back to back. And if I do that, I would be the first person ever to do a multi Mario, multi Sonic, and multi Zelda run. And I
mm.
feel like, I'm thinking to myself, it's like, what do I want my legacy to be? Like, what mark do I want to make on the speedrunning community? And I feel like if I do that, I'd have made enough of a mark on a speedrunning community for me to be happy with it.
And after that, all you got to do is then do all of those back to
Back
back.
to back. Listen. If I ever do a subathon, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, that's a
If
good
I ever
idea
do a
for it.
subathon, we'll see. We'll see.
See, we're just coming up with ideas here.
Very true. And then, part of me, like, Zelda speedrunning is cool because, like, it's so weird how different every speed game or, like, series of speed game is for one another. Like, running Zelda is so much different than running Mario. And, like, obviously that makes sense, but, like, just the way you need to approach it, like, in Mario, I don't rust for anything. Like, I could probably do a Galaxy run right now and get, like, a minute or 2 minute off PB. And I haven't played Galaxy since, like, the 602. I literally haven't played Galaxy since the last 602, which was in December. But, like, um, with OOT, like if I tried to do an OOT 100% run right now, it'd probably be like 9 hours. And so it's one of the things where like Zelda, you really just have to practice so much more because there's so much that you need to remember. And one thing that's cool with that is doing randomizers helps. Like doing randomizers is a fun way to stay derusted, and it's just like it's cool. I like it. Um, and it also just helps. But for Sonic, there's so many actions per minute, and that's one of those things where it's like me, I'm not really that good at actions per minute, but I still find Sonic fun because it's just so much. It's not a cookie cutter approach. Speedrunning is not a cookie cutter approach for every game, and that's one thing that's like makes it really cool. It's like with different series, it's not a cookie cutter approach. You gotta approach it different ways. Different strategies are not always going to be what's beneficial for each speed game, and that's just something that I find really cool.
Hmm.
And I see Lunatic J talking about the Majora's Mask glitchless race. I am gonna do that race. That's gonna be my introduction to Majora's Mask speedrunning. I'm excited.
Mm. Really
It's gonna
doing
be good.
everything.
Yeah, I'm. Listen, I wanna. Thinking to myself, it's like I'm not like my times. Like I said, that they're not like amazing by any means. So I need to find a way to, make my mark. Like my times are not enough for that, but me just doing all these games, like it feels like that's my notoriety. That's what I'm known for. It's like my brand, and I think it's just a way to keep speedrunning refreshing and just really cool.
Hmm.
So that's why I do what I do.
Fair enough. Something I've noticed is
Hmm.
it's always the 3D games,
Um,
no matter the
actually,
series.
funny you mentioned that because one of my favorite speed games to run is Yoshi's Island, which is a
Wow.
2D game.
Yeah.
I haven't submitted it to speedrun.com, but I have a 249, I think, in Yoshi's Island Warpless, which I mean, obviously is not like the greatest time, but listen, it's cool. And I just really like Yoshi's Island, but I'm not really I know you're a 2D runner, but like for me it just feels like 3D has so much more like levels of optimization. Like I don't really like any percent categories just because it feels like it's so reset heavy and like you make one mistake you're done. For 100% categories, it's almost guaranteed you're gonna make mistakes.
Hmm.
So that's why I like 100% categories because like it's not as punishing for making mistakes. It's also not as reset heavy. I hate resetting if it wasn't already obvious.
Yeah. I mean, resetting sucks. Can't argue
But
with
it's
that
an
one.
integral part of the process,
Hmm. Yeah, that's the
definitely.
one thing.
Mhm.
That's why I see
And
the interest in like races and
yeah,
tourneys and relays, whatever. You
hmm
can't reset.
yeah, and it
That
really
that.
shows like it's a skill for speedrunning. Like it's not like you could have really good times and just not perform well in tournaments, and it's something that just it adds so much more like I don't know even know how to describe it. It's like dimensional. Like it's not speedrunning is not two dimension. Like there's levels to it.
Hmm. Yes,
Um,
like the 3D game.
very true. Very true. And I think also just because I grew up playing more of the 3D games, like that was more my childhood.
Yeah, I mean,
Reason
nostalgia is
why.
always going to play a factor.
Yeah. Pretty much every game I speedrun, I have nostalgia for. So
Hmm. I mean,
that's
that's
how
how
I
you
choose
enjoy
my
it.
speed
Yeah,
games. Yeah.
it's called replay value. You you can't really replay a game uh
Hmm.
that you played a bunch and have anything new unless you do it this way. That'll
Hmm.
give you infinite replay value.
And one of the things that's interesting is I'm gonna get clowned on for this. One of my favorite speedruns that I've ever done was an Ace Attorney speedrun, which is just text mashing.
Oh,
Which
why?
I don't know why. I don't know why I enjoyed it. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. GTA's. I don't know why. It was just fun, in my opinion. It was fun.
I mean, the games are good, but
Yeah, their games are good. And like, just
you're
like,
skipping through all the everything.
yeah, but I don't know. It was just also one of the things. Like, it took 2 hours. I just did it on stream, just vibed. It was cool.
I mean, that's fair.
No, it was
I
nice.
get it. I get it. So, what about live events?
Live events.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Like, what do you mean by that?
Just your experience with live events, because we've talked like
Hmm.
exclusively online kind of stuff, and I think that's like a big part of the whole speedrunning community thing.
So, live events for me are interesting because I've done a lot. I've done a bunch of live events. My first live event was at Glitch Infinite. I did a speedrun of Galaxy Any%. And that was my first ever marathon speedrun, and it just went really well. Like, I was put in a position where all I have to do is just show my knowledge of the game and play. And it was awesome. Like, I grew up, I got into speedrunning watching GDQ, old GDQs, and it was really cool just to be in that position. Like, I shared a stage with Trihex. Like like that's insane to me. Someone who I'd watched since I was like 12, I shared a stage with them. That to me is just like life changing. And then I did a Sonic Colors speedrun at pace 2022 fall. And one thing is that's the best, possibly one of the best speedruns I've ever done. um, because I wasn't even supposed to do it. Someone had to cancel, and I volunteered. And I hadn't played the game in 9 months. I derusted my PB during the event, and I did so well. Like, I was the only person on comms because no one there ran the game. I was the only person there. And I commentated. I put on an amazing run. I hit every trick. I think I only had like one stupid death. And it was just one of the things where it's like, under pressure, oh, this is gonna sound really cocky. Under pressure, there's no one else you want but me. Like pressure, I'm so good under pressure. I lock in and I clutch up. And
There you
then
go.
we did a Galaxy 1 and 2 relay at Pace Summer 2023. And me and my teammate Ghost TSR, we actually ended up winning.
Mm.
And that was cool. That was a fun race. Although I'm kind of like a spotlight hog. I kind of like when it's just me doing the run, but like I understand like the appeal for like a relay. And it was still fun. But like if I get the chance, I do like having. I like being in the limelight. What can I say? And then the last and most recent live event I did was the Mario Kart 8 LTA, and I got last in the LTA, but I had fun. And doing an LTA is really cool. Um, you know, Everyone was kind of respectful about it. They knew that I was like a last minute shoe in because they couldn't find anyone else. I hadn't even ran the game up until like a week before, and so it was
Mm.
cool. It was nice. So I really like live events. I think they're really cool, and I love doing them, and just showing off my craft and leading. I used to watch runs GDQ of people doing runs, and if somebody can be inspired to my runs like I was to those runs, then I know I'm doing something good.
It's a good way of looking at it.
I did forget one thing. I commentated Sunshine at GDQ, and that was a
Mm-hmm.
blast, and everyone loved it, which was awesome.
Yeah, I heard many a things about it.
Awesome. I loved that. It was it was
Never
it was
stop
one of
getting
my favorite.
up.
Never stop giving up. Never
Never
stop
stop.
giving up. So it was one of my favorite things that I had done.
Yeah, I mean that's the big stage.
Mhm. And who
So
knows? Maybe SGDQ, I'll be running on there. We'll
mm,
see.
you never know.
Get ready. Hex Speedruns 2024 GDQ main stage. We'll
Well,
see.
you heard it here first, I guess.
You heard it here first.
All right. Well, trying to think. You kind of went off. You kind
Mhm.
of ran through everything I could have thought to ask. So
Um, if I had images on hand, I would tier list my speed games, but I think that would take a little too long. So I'm not too sure.
yeah, no, that's
Um,
fine.
yeah.
I've never had a live tier list before, so
No, I mean, listen, maybe at a later time. We'll see.
can
We'll see.
you leak what you're planning to submit to the next couple events?
I think I'm gonna do 3D World. Go back to my roots.
Mm.
3D World, and I want to submit something Sonic. Maybe Sonic Heroes for pace, not for GDQ. I would get clowned if I brought that to GDQ stage. Um, for GDQ, I want to submit 3D World. That's my
Mhm.
game. Like that's my game. That sounds cocky, kind of to say, but like the reason why I say that's my game is because it's just the game that I've been running for the longest, and I feel like I could put on a great show with
Mhm.
it. And so I would like to submit 380 star if I can. If I can't submit 380 star, then any percent's fine.
Mhm.
Any percent's. I mean, any percent's any percent.
Yeah. I mean, that is a long game. Like
Hmm.
both ways even. I mean, it's any percent isn't longer than some other any percents, but
It's around like an hour 40, which is perfectly fine.
yeah, it's a lengthy any percent in the grand
Yep,
scheme of things. So
definitely.
you definitely get to show some content no matter what.
I'm excited for it, and I'll make sure to put on a good show, choose my couch well. We'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, 3D World's a great run.
It's gonna be exciting.
Always
That would be
enjoyed
a dream
watching it.
come true for me. Being on the big stage with a Mario game would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild when it happens,
Mhm.
and it could just happen. You never know. I mean, you just got to keep trying, and eventually it'll probably happen.
I'm hoping that I get in first try just because of the commentary, the praise. But it's never confirmed.
Oh
I've never
no.
submitted to a GDQ, so I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, it takes a while usually. I mean, I can't speak
Fair
for
enough.
everyone, but God,
Fair enough.
it's tough. Just because the amount of submissions they get
Yeah.
is wild, but I don't
I also
remember the
hope
last time they've had 3D World.
that's just what I was about to say. I think the
Okay.
last time was PD Boo's run in like 2018. 2018, 2017. It was the Wii U version. They have not shown off the Switch version.
Oh, there's a
So
thing if you knew how to do
I'm really
Bowser's
hoping
Fury
that
too.
I could do that. I could do 3D World and Bowser's Fury, but that would be. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
That'd at least be unique since
Yeah.
that game specifically has never been shown off, and I assume you'd be playing the Switch version no matter what. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I kind of despise Bowser's Fury as a speed game, like low key.
I mean, I don't know. I've still never played it.
Mhm. It's a fun game, but as a speed game, I'll be honest, as a speed game, I am not a fan. I'm not a fan, and I used to have record in it, so I feel like
Oh
my
wow,
claim holds some water. I used to have record in 100 shines,
I see.
so I had record 3 times.
Well,
So I
well,
feel like my opinion is valid. I hope.
you had any other records?
I had the Sonic Colors any percent record a couple
Really?
times as well. Yeah,
That,
I did when
that sounds
Sonic
big.
Colors Ultimate,
Oh
like
well,
the
yeah.
re-release. Yeah, it's a little less impressive.
Well,
What else? If we're going made up categories, I have
oh,
a couple. Oh, I do have a world record. Shoutouts, Cameron slash Nimbus MP slash Doodle Bob. That's my best friend. Me and him have the Subspace Emissary Co-op Intense any percent world record.
you said a lot of words there, man.
Um, yeah. So Smash Bros has a story mode,
Hmm.
and me and him, we're the only people to complete an epic or not an epic, intense difficulty,
Okay, so the
um,
hardest difficulty.
any percent. Yeah, so it's the
Okay.
hardest difficulty co-op. So That's a cool thing, and it's nice. Me and him kind of flex that, even though that run ain't the greatest. But listen, we're the only people to have done it.
There's nothing to compare it to. You can say it's the greatest.
Literally. We also have second place in hard mode, so we're not just one hit wonders.
What a wild, random thing.
Putting that on my resume.
Yeah, I mean, Subspace Emissary, I remember being really fun,
Love
but
it.
it's been
It's one of my
so
favorite things
long
ever.
since I've played that. But
So good. I love Subspace.
yeah, it's a shame they never did another story type deal to that
World of
extent.
Light was kind of ass. I
Yeah,
mean, it's okay,
it's
but I don't
fine,
know.
but
It's not
there was no
insane.
like motivation to play it. That game, it's like,
Yeah,
holy shit.
yeah. Um, what else? What else was I saying? Not what else was I saying, but like I'm trying to think of other records that I may have had. Um, hmm.
The question's hard when you run so many things.
I had world record in Sonic Adventure DX Knuckles Story.
Hmm. I mean that.
I had record in that. Um, it
that
got like beat an hour later, but it is what it is. I mean,
I.
listen, a record's a record.
Yeah, that
A record's
counts.
a record.
That that counts.
And then I think there was one more that I'm trying to think of. Oh, I had the Super Mario 365 record, which is a category extension.
Three
I had
six five.
at one point it's not record, but at one point I had second place in the 540,
Oh, the any okay.
which is all Mario games any percent, and the only
All
person
3D
that had
games.
me was Odd Me, so
Well, yeah, okay,
you know,
fair enough. What was that? Three
practically
six
record.
five.
365 is Odyssey, 3D World, Galaxy 2.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Just seems
You'll
kind of
never guess
random.
who made that category up. You'll never guess who invented it.
I'm pointing at you.
It is me. It was me.
Okay.
And so, someone else did a run, and I don't think they beat me. So I did technically have record for a couple months. But yeah, now Odd Me has record. We can't have nice things.
Nah, not with him around.
Nope.
All
But
right. Well,
yeah, that's all for my records, I think.
I mean, it's a list. There's some good stuff on there.
We'll add to it eventually. We'll see. We'll add to it eventually.
See, now that's what we like to hear.
I think just honestly, like I don't have many records, but like if I go on my speedrun.com, like you scroll down, you see eighth place in the 602. I feel like that accounts for something.
Yeah, that. I mean, that's a contested category and hard to do at all, let alone
Yeah.
quickly. So, got that.
Um, Additionally, 14th place in Galaxy 120 Luigi. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Sonic Colors Ultimate. I'm still top 10. Um, Sonic Adventure DX. I had a third place time from 125 emblems. I actually got that in 5 years ago, so it was 2019. So that was like my peak before I actually started taking speedrunning seriously.
Good
I think
stuff.
I
Good
had like
stuff.
second place when I submitted that. So decent sized resume.
Yeah, definitely a lot of long categories. So,
Yeah, I mean I stated before. I like the long categories because it allows for more room for error.
yeah, I mean, that's totally fair.
Hmm.
I mean, it makes it more impressive to like beat it at all. I mean, that's a lot of consistency and,
Hmm.
you know, having to remember so much. Like even
Yeah,
at that point,
definitely.
the route becomes hard to remember.
It does, but it's also again games you've been playing your entire life. Like I feel like there's a
Yeah,
whole subsection for your brain dedicated to them.
maybe. I mean, I don't run long categories, so and
Fair
my
enough.
even like my 70 star 64 splits, I have a split for every star and that's only because it tells me what star to get. I probably
Makes
have it
sense.
memorized now, but I've just never changed it because I definitely did not remember the routes starting off.
I mean, it is hard to remember. I think it's, again, just something that comes with time.
Hmm. Yeah, if you do it enough, I'm sure it comes naturally. But
Definitely.
yeah, the longer the category, it just becomes much harder to route. I think I know people that still like have whole spreadsheets to remember what to do. Like even if
That's
they're
me for OOT 100%.
yeah,
Yep.
see, it makes sense,
Yeah.
and that's totally fair way of
Oh,
doing
yeah.
stuff. But
No,
that's just like
definitely.
the caveat of long categories. So much to remember.
And it's insane, especially for Zelda, like people who memorize what equips you're supposed to have. Like
Oh
that to
yeah,
me is crazy.
yeah. There's I don't know Zelda too well, but from what I've seen and heard, which is not a ton, but like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Especially like
I could not.
Majora's Mask.
Mm,
Just because you have to remember also like the in-game time and what time everyone's going to be where, because certain events Majora's Mask is my favorite speedrun to watch.
mm.
That's without question. Like Majora's Mask 100% is my favorite speedrun to watch, just because literally if you're late for one in-game event, run's dead. So there's always suspense.
I need to actually play these games. I need to
Yes,
get
you
in the know.
do.
I know. I need to get in the know.
In due time. In due time.
My backlog's so long, man. It's so hard.
That's the good thing about speedrunning so many games. You don't have a backlog.
Mm, yeah. Well.
I getcha.
I still try to enjoy casual stuff, but it's just like why play this game for the first time when I can just play this game again and try to get better? It's like, well,
No, I getcha.
it's such a hard balance. But
I feel like that's where stuff like randos and like Ace Attorney for me comes in,
the
because it's like,
speedrunner's dilemma.
yeah, it's like you gotta find something where it's like you can take the edge off. I feel like that's very important for a lot of people.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, breaks are super important. So
Definitely.
I can tell you right now, I've had like kind of a 3 month long one right now.
And I guarantee you, when you go back, you'll be firing on all cylinders.
Hopefully, I go back tomorrow. So we'll see about that. Life's just been hard. Like it hasn't just been like speedrun burnout or anything. So
No, fair enough.
a life of burnout.
That, oh, that's so real.
It's
That's
so
real.
real. Yeah, I bet. But yeah, breaks important.
Definitely.
That's definitely something I've learned and something that I've constantly heard is important. Even today, I heard that does wonders. So
It does.
can't help
Yeah,
but
that's
recommend it myself.
pretty much all I got. I've
Yeah,
exasperated pretty much everything.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
oh,
wait. There's one thing I forgot to say. I
okay.
do have record in another game, Toontown Rewritten any percent. 69 hours, 42 minutes.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Any percent?
Yep.
You're gonna have to explain this to me.
So it's an MMORPG.
Okay.
And it's not meant to be beaten in one sitting. Um, and
Did
I didn't do it
you?
in one sitting.
Okay.
I did it over 2 weeks.
Okay.
TA. And as far as I'm concerned, no one else has even come close to that time.
I see. That makes more. So you can just pause the
Mhm.
timer. Well,
Yeah.
does it have like an in-game kind of tracker for you?
Unfortunately,
Oh,
no.
okay. So it is really hard to time.
Yeah.
I see.
And I actually have videos of it uploaded on Twitch, so there's recorded proof.
Well, that's good. I think I've heard of it, but it's like
Mhm.
one of those like online. Is it like a Disney thing or?
Yeah, it's a Disney game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
I
that's
know next
cool.
to nothing. I've just heard, so I'm trying to go
Hmm.
off of what I remember, which is not much.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very
Very random,
random.
just a random thing to throw in there. I mean, hey,
Hmm.
record's record. You
Very
can't say
true.
shit about it.
You can't. A record is record. You can't say it's only half.
Okay. Was not expecting that reference, but
I'm an old head, GTA, so I'm an old head.
mm. So,
Yeah,
the future.
the future.
What are we looking
Um,
at?
just be expected for me to kind of just have fun with speedrunning. Um, definitely the Mario, Sonic, Zelda thing. Keep that out, looking out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just YouTube content as well. I'm kind of content pilled right now,
Mm-hmm.
trying to grow YouTube, grow my Twitch, but I don't really care. Like when I say grow my Twitch, I just mean like not even in a viewer count kind of way, just like so that people can just see speedruns of games they like.
Community kind of way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
mean that's always the
Even though I,
most
I have
important thing.
a wonderful community right now,
Mm-hmm.
like I have like one of the best communities, I'd say, probably the best community. But like
Based.
obviously I'm gonna say I have the best community. I'm not trying to like flex or anything like that. But uh like I think it's just YouTube content, YouTube grind right now, and then just also like um finding my brand as a speedrunner, like what
Mm-hmm.
makes me like above everyone else, or like what sets me not above, because that has like a
What makes
negative
you
connotation.
unique that
Yeah,
people are
what
like,
makes
yeah,
me
let me,
unique.
yeah. No, I get it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to find that. Like,
Hmm.
especially if you're traditional. Like, I'm super traditional, so like I'm just with everyone else. It makes things hard. So yeah, it's really hard to find that like
Hmm.
unique differentiation kind of thing.
And then just also like making more friends, like going to
Mm-hmm.
speedrunning events and stuff like that. Like that's what I want to do. Like speedrunning
Real
events are what just keep me going, man. They're so fun.
that I mean, same, literally.
Awesome.
Just money.
Money.
Money, dude. Ugh, the
Money.
worst. Just let me go
Yep.
for free, please.
Yeah. Listen, if it were up to me, I'd let you go for free. Just
Hell yeah.
if it were up to me.
Well, life don't work that way.
Fair enough.
Yep. But yeah, any like specific games future?
Majora's Mask.
You just yeah.
Majora's Mask. MM. I want to run Yoshi's Island 100% eventually, but
There's that 2D love.
don't ask me when. I
Yeah,
won't
I
be
know.
able to give you an answer.
I
It could
won't. I
be
won't.
in a month. It could be in 3 years.
Sounds
I
about
don't
right.
know, man.
You
I
got
don't know.
time. You got time.
I
So.
do have time. I do have time. I do
The
have
nice
time.
thing, it never really ends. So the grind, so you
The
can
grind don't
just
stop.
do whenever. Who cares?
Grind
It
never stops.
really doesn't.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty much it.
yeah, I think so. I've got really nothing else to ask. You kind of covered everything off rip pretty quickly. So
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I'm really glad I got to just kind of like. It's nice to have a video that I can reference now for like my history in speedrunning, because I'm always telling different people different stories. And so I just got on here and I just said everything. And so it feels like when people ask me like, "Oh, how'd you start?" stuff like that, like I can just link them this, and that's
yeah,
it's all my explanation. So I think that's really cool, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on the show.
of course. I mean, I just like hearing people's backgrounds. So
It's awesome. It's
it's
awesome.
always fun. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, if
yeah.
there's anything that
Hmm.
wasn't covered that's interesting, that's
Join
the
the
time.
10th anniversary 602 race if you're listening. Join the 10th anniversary 602 race. Doesn't matter if you've never played the games or if you're like a seasoned speedrunner. Join up. Make this the biggest race ever.
It's getting there. That's for sure. Do you
And
know?
yeah, that's it.
Do you know how many people are like confirmed? Is there like a sign up or?
Um, not yet, but I'm gonna assume probably like 70.
Damn. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
now announce win.
It's going to be. Well, I'm actually not sure if the date's confirmed yet,
Oh,
but
is it
it's
not
looking like it's going to be July 13th.
July? Okay, that's a good time. That's when no big events are in the
Yeah,
way, conflicting. Everything's over. It's a good time. I'll
July
definitely
13th.
watch part of it.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
What channel is that? Like the main
It's gonna
part.
be on. I think it's literally just called Multi Mario Events.
Got it. Okay. I don't remember if I followed that channel or not. I'll have to keep that in mind because I know they have that, and then they have like a second channel with like all of the statistics and it's
Mhm.
a whole big
That
it's a whole
is
big thing. It's a whole big thing.
that is the statistics channel. Usually it's like just everyone individually streams.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think
That
they have
is
like a
I
yeah,
see, I see. I wasn't
yeah,
sure if there was like a
unfortunately.
main hub for viewing.
Maybe soon. We'll see. I don't know if that's something in the works, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I won't predict how they're gonna do it. I guess I was just having false memories of what I saw.
No, I get you. I think you're thinking of the 1545.
Oh, does that happen? Oh, yeah,
That is a
maybe.
hub. That is the hub.
Yeah, and also I've done some relay. I forget which one it
Mhm.
was, but it was like every
Was
Mario
it
any
the
percent.
mainline Mario Relay?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I've done that, and they have the two, so
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking something like that. But yeah, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Have you done one of those? Like the
No,
no?
I'm not a fan of the organization for those kinds of relays, so I just kind of stay away from it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I was just asking. I was like, sure, I'll
Mm,
play one of the 10 minute
yeah,
runs. It's
yeah. I mean that
they're
makes
quick.
sense. Like, you're. I mean, it makes sense.
So I don't know. I really
Yeah.
don't know much about it. I just have been in it for, which
No,
is
we
funny.
respect it. We
But
respect it. We respect it.
yeah, I don't got the time for the big large. I could not do 24 hours, and it would
Fair
be much
enough.
longer than 24 hours. I haven't like even played the Galaxy games casually in like a
That would
decade,
be,
dude.
yeah, that would definitely be longer than 24
And I
hours.
fucking despise sunshine, so I would.
Oh, you just hate to see sunshine hate, but I get it though. It's the hardest
Hey,
game and
the
it's the
speed
most
run,
punishing.
sick. When I say
Casually,
that, yeah, no, casually and speedrunning is a different
casually it
thing.
sucks.
Yeah,
Casually it
okay,
sucks.
so yeah,
Casually it
sorry,
sucks.
that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
speedrun,
No, fair enough.
sick, dude. Go off. Like that's the
Makes
good thing.
sense.
Like speedrunning bad games makes them sick. It's like,
Oh yeah.
damn,
Oh yeah.
the bad games make the best speedruns
That's why
sometimes.
Sonic speedruns are so sick because the games are horrible.
Exactly.
And they're not horrible. I'm just being an ass, but like especially with like some of the older Sonic games, like they're not very good.
Hey, the 2D games are the goat. Don't be hating. I've
2D
run
games,
I've
they're
run
okay.
Sonic 2.
Oh,
That game
that's a cool
slaps.
speed game.
That game slaps in every
It is
way.
good. I don't know. I don't know if I could do I don't know if I could do a I don't know if I could do like a 2D Sonic game.
I mean, yeah, it's different. They're shorter. They're 2D. It sounds like not what you're used to, so I
Hmm.
get it. But those are the games. When I think of Sonic, I think of those games. I'm like, damn, those are sick.
Fair enough.
And then the
That's
speedruns
fair
are
enough.
also sick, even though they're like so fucking hard with the amount of shit you have to do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, um, self promote, I guess. Go.
Oh, yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitch, you can see it, twitch.tv/HexSpeedruns. I might even be live tonight. We'll see.
The
YouTube,
grind.
HexSpeedruns as well. I find funny videos, and then Twitter as well. Twitter for me is interesting. It's not just speedrunning. I post like gym stuff, math stuff, so it
Math
appeals to
stuff.
many audiences.
Well, pick
Yeah.
your poison, I guess.
Yeah. Follow GTA. So everyone who's listening, if you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe.
I mean, yeah.
You heard the man.
Hey, I'm bad at
Yeah,
self
that's pretty
promotion.
much
I'll
it.
let the people do it for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Again, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. All links in description on YouTube. So
Hmm.
yeah, and this is weekly. Stay tuned. You know it is.
Yes,
Year two
this is
is
a
starting. We are here.
year two is now.
It is now,
Year
dude.
two is now.
We are here.
We
So
out here, as the kids say.
we are out here in second year. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that's it. So
Yeah.
take care, everyone. Bye
Yep.
bye.
See ya, everyone.
I'm bad at ending things.
Nah, it's fair
But
enough.
yeah,
It happens.
it do be hard. I'm no professional. I do my best. But this unprofessional made it the second year, so
Listen,
that's what we
you
like
don't
to
get
hear.
off in a year through dumb luck.
It's the
You gotta
grind
have
set.
the grind set.
The grind set is here. All right, for real though.
Mm.
Bye. Bye bye.